All thanks and praise due to the basis foundation. God is most great. None has the right to worship but you. Hello, everyone. It's Stepdogg, the Hip Hop Prophet, and I'm here with the next video in the YouTube series. And the name of this video is the Book of Revelation, Revealed, Part 14, The Seals. Now, this is a very important section because the seals are where I discovered and realized that the Book of Revelation is a direct message to me. Before that, I didn't think it was, and that's why I didn't delve extremely deep into it. But nonetheless, this is where I figured out that this Book of Revelation is a direct message to me. Not only that, but I need to explain what the seven seals are. After each event, the seven churches represent seven events where God had seven messages for me. After each event, I made a musical recording. And basically, the seven musical recordings that I made, they are the seven seals. So I'm going to start with the first seal. I watched as the Lamb opened the first seal, the first of the seven seals. Then I heard one of the four living creatures say in a voice like thunder, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a white horse. Its rider held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. First musical recording I made was not hip-hop, but nonetheless it was a musical recording, and that was the Not Today EP. The white Mustang I'm standing in front of, that's the white horse. I'm wearing a hat, that's the crown. The electric guitar I'm holding, that's the arrow or bow that John saw. And at that time, I was going to Hooters because, I was on a quest for love and all that stuff. And that's what makes me a conqueror bent on conquest. That's the first seal. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. Okay. Or wait. To him was given a large sword. That's the last sentence. Okay, I'm sorry about that. All right, the second musical recording I made was the first hip-hop recording I made, and the name of that recording was The Witchcraft Panty. And I hope people can see the album cover. I'm trying to make... There we go. If you could see, on the album cover, I used an effect to make my skin glow red, so I am the red horse. Now, I wrote The Witchcraft Panty, during the time when my mother was trying to kill me. Complete division came between me and my family, and my life was total chaos. So that's the whole point about, peace was taken from the earth and people tried to kill each other. And it also talks about the large sword. That's also when I wrote the book Prior Knowledge, which is a book of God. I knew when I was writing that book that I was receiving scientific knowledge from God. There's no doubt about it. And like I said, when you speak the truth in the word of God, that is always a sword. It's always a sword. So that is the second seal. Now let me get this ready for the other jump. Okay. So now we're going to go to the third seal. Okay, when the Lamb opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures say, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Okay, well, the third seal applies to the church of Pergamum. That was when I was in prison, and then after I got out of prison, I became a courier. So the black horse that he saw and the rider holding the scale in his hand, that was the judge. The black robe was the judge, and the judge was holding the scales of justice, and, he screwed me. So, that's what that means. And then when he heard the voice say, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, and 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine, that's when I was a courier. All the time, I'd get calls from dispatchers. "We'll give you $20 to do this job. We'll give you $50 to do this job. For this job, don't damage the package, because if you damage it, we're not getting paid for this job." That's the third seal. When the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I'm sorry, but the third recording I made was the Golden Rule. But during the letter for Pergamum, I already showed the album cover for the Golden Rule. So, the letters and the seals are directly related as well. So, that seal, that musical recording was explained in the letter, whereas in this seal, what was happening in my life is explained. So, I just broke it down like that. When the Lamb opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the four living creatures say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was Death, and Hades followed close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. Now, the fourth recording I made was the Garage Band Special. My favorite song on that is Time for Judgment, and that's basically where I'm like, yeah, Stepdogg the Hip Hop Prophet is here. And I made an Instagram video that I'm going to show, and I'm going to play, and I hope that you could hear it, because that's going to explain the fourth seal. It basically describes what John said.
Yeah, Stepdogg the Prophet is here. But there's nothing to fear. Just means that judgment time is near. You need to prepare yourself. Because if you don't, you're going into the pit of hell, where you will be tortured non-stop for over 1,000 years. So you really need to think about this before you make your final decision.
Obviously, in that, I'm talking about hell and the pit of hell, and if you don't follow the Golden Rule, you're screwed, and you're basically gonna die and go to hell. So that's what John saw. I look like a pale horse in that video, and what I was saying was, yeah, you're going to hell and you're gonna die, if you don't follow the Golden Rule. So that's the fourth seal. When he opened up the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they had maintained. They called out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of the earth and avenge our blood?" Then each of them was given a white robe, and they were told to wait a little longer until the full number of their fellow servants, their brothers and sisters, were killed just as they had been. Okay, the fifth seal, the recording that I made is the Stepdogg single. In both of those songs, I talk about the Illuminati and Illuminati blood sacrifices. In the one song, it's the Stepdogg. That's basically where I go at some of the hip hop artists that I grew up enjoying, with the exception of Stepdogg. With the exception of Snoop Dogg, I never thought he was all that great. But in that song, in that video, I talk about KRS-One committed an Illuminati blood sacrifice. He killed Scott LaRock. Snoop Dogg committed a number of murders in the name of the Illuminati. And then the second song on that single is Still Wanna Be Like Mike, and that's all about the Antichrist, Michael Jordan, and how basically, his first Illuminati blood sacrifice was when he murdered his father to get back into the NBA after David Stern, the Jew scumbag, kicked him out. And that's what made Michael Jordan 666, because he's 6 foot, 6 inches, and he won 6 championships. If he didn't commit that Illuminati blood sacrifice and kill his father, he would have only won 3. He wouldn't be 666. So that's what that fifth seal is, because, he talks about, how the souls were slain because of the word of God and the testimony that they maintained. Basically, they were killed by a bunch of Illuminati devil worshippers. And then that was also when I was writing the Book of Life. That's when I became the Lord's pen, and I was writing about Paul McCartney and, other people who committed Illuminati blood sacrifices. Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever he calls himself now, Sean Combs, Kanye West. I go on and on about it. So that's what that fifth seal is all about. That's the fifth seal. Okay. So then we get into the sixth seal. I watched as he opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red, and the stars in the sky fell to the earth, as figs drop from a fig tree when shaken by a strong wind. The heavens receded like a scroll being rolled up, and even mountains and islands were removed from their places. Then the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, everyone else, both slave and free, hid in caves and among the rocks of the mountains. They called to the mountains and the rocks, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it?" Well, obviously, the sixth seal is talking about the hour and day of judgment. Because basically, well, I'm going to explain here shortly in, a video following up, because we're going to get into the trumpets. And, I'm going to explain what occurs during the hour of judgment. There's going to be volcanic eruptions. And basically, because of the smoke and ash from the volcanoes, we're going to be covered in complete darkness for 8 hours by these clouds. And they're going to look like sackcloth and wool. You know what I mean? It's not going to look completely black. It's going to look like smoke, but it's going to be dark. It's going to block out the sun for over 8 hours. And, basically, it's also describing some of the things that happen during the hour of judgment. You know what I mean? Basically, it says stars in the sky fell to the earth and dropped, basically, John was also seeing volcanic eruptions, so he was seeing, ashes also, I should say, projectiles of magma from the volcanoes, also falling to the earth, and they looked like stars falling because they were lit up and they were falling to the ground. And, there's going to be a lot of destruction during the hour of judgment. So basically, that's what he's describing there. And, then he's also describing, how people are going to be trying to hide from the face of God and from me, the second Christ, the Christ of wrath, especially the wealthy and the rich and, the elite, the devil worshippers, all the people who are against God and have been pursuing this Zionist Illuminati agenda. And the fifth recording that I made is Fall Back. It's all about the hour of judgment and the day of judgment. Because basically in that song, I talk about getting hit on the head, grabbing a hold of the rod. Then we have the hour of judgment. Then God destroys the South China Sea. Then I come back to earth. And then when I give the speech, all these people are going to be hiding and afraid, because when I give that speech, the whole world is going to discover the truth about what's been going down in this world. And the elite, the Illuminati, these people behind the scenes trying to manipulate the devil's kingdom, they're going to be hiding. They're not going to want anybody to know about this. They're going to wish that they were dead, because, the Illuminati game is over. After the hour of judgment, it's over. So, that's the sixth seal, when I recorded the song Fall Back, because that's a single. I only recorded that song. It's just a single by itself. And it doesn't explain the seventh seal in this section, so I'm going to wait to do the seventh seal for that section. But those are the first six seals, and they all directly relate to the musical recordings that I made. And this section, the seals, was what unlocked the reality to me that this whole book of Revelation was meant to be a message to me. All thanks and praises due to the Basis Foundation. God is most great. None has the right to be worshipped but you.